Hello, and welcome to today's solo episode of Your Life Your Way Stress and How It's Affecting Our Lives. Really, basically, sucking the life out of us. I created this podcast to help women, moms, to see how living our life, being and doing how the rest of the world thinks that we should, is just not our path. It is not our journey. It is not how we are meant to live our gift of our life. So, in today's episode, I hope you will find some inspiration to really examine how stress might be affecting your life, how it might be affecting those that you love the most. And remember to breathe. Thank you for joining me. Good morning. Welcome to Your Life Your Way. I'm your host, Kathleen McDermott. Stress. I want to speak with you about stress. It is sucking the life out of us. It is affecting our quality of life. It is affecting our work, our relationships, our health, and it is affecting our children. Why are we so stressed? We live for Friday. We start moaning about Monday on Sunday. Why are we so stressed? If we really took a look at all of the things that trigger us, how long would your list be? We do have quite a few triggers, everything from having to cook dinner, to getting the laundry done, to driving, to going to the market, to having long lines, to people we work with, relatives, things that fit, things that don't fit. I could go on. The list is just endless of the things. And the primary reason seems to be is that we expect life to be a certain way. We expect people to be a certain way. We expect our day to go a certain way. And when those expectations are not met, wow, we react to life. And the reason we react is because we are conditioned to. We are now conditioned to not just listen, but hear others. We don't even hear ourselves. We are conditioned to react first, think later. And even if we take the time to think, whose thoughts are those? Whose thoughts are we really thinking? I know it sounds like we're programmed. We really are. And it starts at a very, very young age. I speak about societal curses and generational curses. And, you can roll your eyes or laugh at the word curse, but the way it affects our life and the way that it keeps getting passed on through generations, it is a curse. But the bright side of it, we can break those curses. We can stop them. It's just because our mom did something or our dad did something a certain way, or our friends are doing something a certain way, or society tells us to do something a certain way. Do we not have minds of our own? If somebody is telling us to be a certain way, if we have to be, look, speak, act a certain way, because that's the way they think we should be, whose life are we living? All of these things create our stress. And we are so conditioned now to the stress that we think it's part of life, that it's just part of our everyday lives. And it becomes around the water cooler is as an example, who's the most tired? Who's the busiest? It isn't a contest. It's not a contest. Taking the time to examine where our thoughts come from. where our expectations come from. We might be quite surprised to find out that we see them in our parents. We've seen them in the people that have been around us the most through our lives. Let's not even get started on TV, advertising, just going to the market. They're conditioning us with where and how foods are placed in the market. The bright side is, if we examine these thoughts and if we examine how those thoughts turn into our feelings and how all of that is affecting not only our mind to create more thoughts. Do you know that we have roughly 75,000 thoughts a day, and 90% of them are the same thoughts every day? Wow. But what if we examined them where they all came from? And what if we thought and asked the true question is this really mine? Is this really the way me inside my heart and soul thinks and feels? And what if the answer is no? That there's been something gnawing at you, that it just didn't feel 100% true to you. And it's okay to cut that thought loose or to change it up, to take an old habit that's not serving you and to create a new habit that does. Now, is any of this work easy? Well, we do tend to make things harder than they have to be. We are human. Yes, the work is hard, but staying where you are is hard. Staying in the stress, the roller coaster ride of stress, exhaustion, and overwhelm is hard. So I ask, can you choose your hard? I think you can. It takes work. It takes work to make the decision, to make the choice, to make changes. Then it's hard for those days when you just want to give up, when you think you're failing. Then you have those that will try to keep you where you are, including your ego. Your own ego will want to say, no, 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 you cannot change. You cannot change these habits. You cannot change these thoughts. This is where you're safe. Are you? How safe is it if the roller coaster ride of, I call it SEO, stress, exhaustion, and overwhelm, is hurting the quality of your life? It's hurting your health. Heart disease is on the rise. Autoimmune disease is running rampant. We eat the wrong things. We don't eat enough of the good things, or we eat too much. We eat too little. We don't sleep enough, or we're deprived. We don't get out and enjoy nature enough. And through all of this, if you have children, they are watching. They are listening. They are feeling your angst. And it is being passed off to them. I'm a mom. I know. I've seen it. But it is up to me. It is my responsibility to look at my role in my life and how my conditioning has affected me, my children, my relationships, my life. How is my role? And let me tell you, that is not an easy thing to admit. But once I see that I'm playing a role, where did those things come from? And I'm not talking about looking for excuses or finding blame. It's about understanding why. What have I been carrying? What are you carrying that is affecting your life in a negative way? I had to look at what I was carrying, where it came from. Out of that doesn't come blame and excuses. Out of that comes understanding, acceptance, and most importantly, forgiveness. Forgiving those who didn't know what they didn't know, and forgiving yourself, myself, for what we didn't know. But the difference is, once we know, then it's up to us. It's up to us to choose to stay in it, in the muck, or to break the cycles. It is up to us to break the cycles. It's just going to go from generation to generation until someone says enough is enough. Have you had enough? So just take some time to notice your thoughts. Don't judge them. Just notice your triggers, what sets you off. Make a note of it and see if you can notice a pattern. There'll be a pattern. See if you can honestly, to yourself, don't have to speak it out loud yet, but just see if you notice a pattern. And then notice how you're feeling when that trigger happens. And then notice your reaction and the things you might say, whether to yourself or others around you. Where might have you heard that similar saying, word usage, reaction before? How is it making you feel? Is it worth it? I know, been there. Some days you feel like, oh yes, but it really isn't. It's hurting our health. It's hurting our heart, our soul, and the people that we love the most. So I will leave this with you today. Remind you to breathe. We breathe from the chest. Try to take that breath from the belly all the way up to the base of the neck. And let it out. And just take a moment to pause. Every time you take that breath with awareness and intention, you come back to you, the real you, not the one that's been influenced and conditioned, but the real you. You're in there. Trust me, you're in there. I wish you all the best. I wish you a beautiful day. Peace and blessings. Well, thank you again for joining me today. I hope you found some inspiration, some support, guidance in today's episode. Besides being your podcast host, I am also a stress and lifestyle management coach, helping women to reduce stress, break the cycles keeping you in it, so that you can build a powerful legacy for yourself and your children if you have them. If you'd like to have a conversation just to see where you're at, how you're feeling, where you'd like to be, and if having a coach, a mentor, a guide is right for you, please feel free to reach out to me at kmyourlifeyourway@gmail.com. kmyourlifeyourway@gmail.com. Never any pressure. I cannot stand being pressured. Certainly I'm not going to do that to anyone else. Again, I wish you a wonderful day. Peace and blessings.